They pay the world price just as they do for grain and all the other commodities in the world, and they don't get as much of it as they would like. But all of those commodities sell at worldwide pretty much the same price.
So like if the United States pays $100 for a barrel of oil, Colombia also pays $100 for a barrel of oil?
Yeah.
And Egypt pays $100 for a barrel of oil?
Yep.
So we all just pay the same amount?
Because if they didn't, the sellers would...
To pay more for oil than another place, that variation is temporary. It will not last long. The prices will be forced back together anyway, because crude oil gets shipped around the world by these tankers, these very large crude carriers. That's actually their official name, VLCCs, very large crude carriers.
There are also ultra-large crude carriers. I like to call them ooks.
And okay, when the price of crude does start to vary by a little bit, like by $1 or $2, things get messy.
There are tankers that will be taking oil, say, from the Middle East to Europe. And if the price in Europe drops a little bit relative to, say, the price in the Gulf Coast, those tankers will, in the middle of shipping, turn the tanker and head to the Gulf Coast instead.
What?
If the price they can get for that oil is a little bit higher in the Gulf Coast than in Europe, they'll say, oh, we're not going to deliver it to Europe. We'll deliver it to the Gulf Coast and make a couple more dollars a barrel.
This is not all like pre-planned ahead of time?
No.
On a day-to-day basis, they can be like, oh, no, turn the ship.
That's right.
It is just so cheap to move oil by very large or ultra-large crude carrier that, yes, the broker who connected us to our oil seller can just mid-deal tell the tanker to turn around, middle of the ocean, go to the Gulf Coast.
And they just don't bring me my oil?
Yep.
There's no, like, I think loyalty is not the right word here, but...
Well, no, there is. I'm sure there is. But I think brokers can make everyone better off.
Our broker can find us cheaper oil. And the oil company already got a better deal. That's why the tanker turned around. So this can all be a win-win.
And so does this little system of like, oh, someone else wants it for more, I'm going to turn the tank around and give it to them, does this kind of keep the price of crude oil the same everywhere in the world?
Exactly. So that ability to move oil very easily from location to location and to switch delivery points is what the market refers to as arbitraging. And so that arbitrage is what keeps prices very close together.
The tankers turning around in the middle of the deal or even just threatening to turn around, that is how prices are forced back together. And there's a fancy economic idea for when prices are forced back together. It is called the law of one price.
The law of one price, which says the same good should sell for the same price all over the world, if a couple things are true. Mainly, transaction costs and transportation costs are zero.
Which doesn't happen very often with physical goods because, like, what costs $0 to transport, right? But oil does get pretty close to being a perfect example of the law of one price because it is so cheap to transport oil.
All right, so we went looking to see if anyone could